Walk for years, then a poor farmer whispered, "Let me try." Everyone in the city knew Richard Holloway, billionaire CEO, ruthless in business, yet soft-hearted when it came to his only daughter, Elena. After a tragic car accident at age 16, Elena was left paralyzed from the waist down. For 6 years, she lived in her father's sprawling estate, moving only in a wheelchair, shadowed by sorrow and hopelessness. World-class doctors, experimental treatments, and expensive therapies, none worked. Richard could buy anything, except the one thing that truly mattered, his daughter's smile. One autumn afternoon, Richard hosted a charity event on the grounds of his mansion. Among the guests was a humble farmer named Daniel, who had come to deliver organic produce from a nearby village. He stood out awkwardly in his worn boots and flannel shirt, clearly uncomfortable among silk gowns and designer suits. While unloading crates, Daniel caught sight of Elena sitting alone under a tree, her pale face blank, hands folded in her lap. Something about her sadness stirred something deep inside him. Despite being warned by security to stay in the service area, he walked slowly toward her. "Excuse me," he said gently, his voice rough but kind. "I'm sorry to bother you, but, may I try something?" Elena blinked, confused. "Try what? I grew up learning healing from my grandmother. Not medicine, just touch, patience, and belief," Daniel said. "I don't promise anything, but, may I try?" She hesitated. Then, against all logic, nodded. Kneeling before her, Daniel placed his hands gently on her knees. He didn't speak fancy words, didn't chant, didn't perform a miracle. He simply closed his eyes and breathed deeply. "Feel the earth," he whispered. "Feel that you belong here, standing tall like the trees around you. Pain does not define you." Minutes passed. Nothing happened. And then, Elena gasped. A warm tingling sensation traveled down her legs. It was faint, but unmistakable. The first feeling she'd had in years. Richard, alerted by a guard, rushed over, demanding answers. When he saw Elena crying, not out of pain, but because she could feel again, he dropped to his knees beside her. "She felt something," Daniel said softly. "It may take time, but it's a start." In the days that followed, Daniel stayed on at the estate, working quietly with Elena in the garden, guiding her through simple stretches, letting her touch the soil with her bare hands. Her therapists called it impossible. But slowly, miraculously, Elena began regaining strength. Weeks later, with Daniel's hand in hers and tears in her father's eyes, Elena stood, wobbly, trembling, but on her own 2 feet. News outlets would call it a miracle. Richard offered Daniel millions, but Daniel refused. "I only wanted to help," he said. "She just needed someone to believe when no one else did." And Elena, she never went back to the empty life of a girl behind mansion gates. She started walking in more ways than one, toward purpose, healing, and something even more unexpected, love. Because sometimes, it's not the experts or the riches that change a life. Sometimes, it's a simple whisper from someone who sees you when no one else does.